So this is me doing a site audit. That's what this video is. So you've got this far with SEO. I kind of thought before, do I do a site audit for people right at the start? And I thought, no, they need to go through some training, fix some things on their site naturally, and then I'll offer a site audit later. So this software, it's available for free, Ubersuggest, although it's very limited. I think I've talked about this before, but I've got the pro version. It cost me over £1,000. But obviously I can extend a site audit to you guys. I normally charge £198 to do a full audit and personalized video. But if you email me, don't WhatsApp me, don't Facebook message me, because I often lose those. Email and it will be done in order. Email me your website URL and say you're ready for a site audit. I'll scan your site and send it over to you, and this will be exported as a CSV file. I can export it as a CSV and it will show all the information that's in here, and then obviously you can work through it, to repair the last things that need doing on your site. So let me just explain kind of what this means. So David has a very good high score. This is for Kent's bank holiday. David is often sending questions to me, which are they're helpful to me because it makes me understand what your needs are and where the gaps are in your knowledge, or the things that come up for his website are probably things that will come up for your website. So things like this, these questions are quite helpful for me. So David messaged me as well and said he got this page that was saying that a customer was on this page, and he was like, I don't have a page like that. And it was actually me on the page, but he's got this software which shows which pages people are on, and then when he gets inquiries. And he thought somebody had duplicated his site and was passing off as him or something like that. And I said, no, these are template pages, but it was me on the site because I was looking at doing the site audit and looking through the issues. So I want to talk through how I'm going to sort of look at some of these issues. Now, this says there's 275 issues, but still gives a 96% score, which is very good. Although David does have a lot of pages. So these issues are relative and a lot can be ignored. Some of them are just warnings and they're just like, just check this, and actually it's fine. You don't need to do anything. But the site audit's really helpful. It can tell us about traffic and the traffic the site is getting. And we know David's very good. He writes blogs. He's getting a lot of regular traffic to his site. Now, looking at this, I know David came to me about this time last year. So I'm not saying that's down to the training or anything I've done, but it might be. We'll leave that there. So, pretty consistent, and even then, this is still quite good traffic and growing organically, but then had a nice boom. But over time, we can look at these patterns of what's happening, and we can perhaps see in another year that we might have these seasonal fluctuations in the summer, and we know that potentially our traffic starts ramping up in June when people are looking for their summer accommodation. So armed with that knowledge, we know that we should start ramping up our social media and email marketing in April and May in readiness for that, getting ahead of the game. So then we can ensure that we have even more traffic. Yeah. So it's just using this data to our advantage and seeing if we can build on that in any way. So let's go back here. That's the traffic, organic keywords. So that's saying that he ranks in the top 100 of particular keywords. Yeah, so he ranks on position 6 for Strickland Arms, which I guess is a pub that he's written a blog about. Okay. And these are the keywords. So that's a lot of keywords he ranks for, and that's why we do SEO, remember. We're looking to rank for more keywords, broadening the subjects, obviously starting in our money keywords, accommodation, that sort of thing, and expanding to become an authority in our area. And that's how we build our keywords and ranking and therefore traffic. We can see here that it's got 507 backlinks. By having good blogs, you potentially get more backlinks as people link to your blog as a resource. So top 5 vegan restaurants in Windermere might be a great blog idea, and then someone else links to it as that resource. We also know you can have backlinks through local chamber of commerce by doing sponsoring a local football team, that sort of thing, and directories and listings and guest blogging on other sites linking back to your site. So that's a kind of overview of what it's telling us. And then we can see in here all the SEO issues. So here, 2 pages have meta description, which are the same. Let's have a look. Okay, so that's in deleted posts. So why is that a page? So we need to start investigating that and see if it is actually a page. Okay, so David's put older posts into a page there. So possibly then we just need to edit that page, the meta description, because it's got the same description. Yeah. So to do that, we would just go in the normal way and edit the SEO by finding, the duplicate page. We can go and edit it and fix that. Yeah, one of the things David was concerned about was this property that was on his site and is not his site. It's not his property. So he thought that someone had cloned his site or was trying to pass off as him. And it was like, well, what's going on here? So in the back end, when his site was built, we can see his site actually wasn't set up with properties in this way, but they were all published. They were live pages. So I've gone in and just gone quick edit, draft. So they were published and I've changed it to draft. Okay, so that fixed that and it's no longer a live page. Now we can also go belt and braces with that. Or if we do have a page, perhaps we want it to be found. We want people to be able to navigate to it because it might be, I don't know, like after the checkout, a thank you page. It's not a page we need ranking, but it needs no indexing. So where we might need to no index a page, or what we've just done here, we've set it to draft. We want to go belt and braces, so we're going to set it as no index. So Google doesn't crawl it. Google doesn't waste its energy crawling pages that are not relevant. Because if you've got a load of irrelevant pages which are published, Google's going to see you as like, well, this is not really an authority. Why are we talking about this subject when there's all these other relevant pages talking about something else? And actually, they're just template pages that shouldn't even be there. So let's ensure that Google doesn't crawl them, and we'll set it as no index. David uses all-in-one SEO, and in here you have to click on there, go to advanced, and you toggle here and click on no index and no follow. If you're using Rank Math and you went to quick edit, let's go and find that. Like I just did, you just use that quick edit function. It would actually be an option just there. Wait for that to catch up. Yeah, if you're using Rank Math Pro, you just go quick edit and there'd be an option underneath here for that no index, no follow. So that's an easy fix. Now it's worth looking at all of your pages. So where do we go? Pages. And have a look at any that don't need to be indexed. They don't need to be there. So T's and C's, yes, you would have those crawled because Google wants to know that you've got T's and C's in place. I potentially wouldn't have that index, but not a biggie. Privacy policy, again, you would have that indexed. Sitemap needs to be indexed. So there's one, test. Why is it there? It says it's published. Let's have a quick look at it. Right click, open a new tab, and we'll have a look what that is. Here we go. It's just a test page. Google's going to say, well, what on earth is that? But it's just there as a sort of a template to set up your pages, set up a new page. So again, if we go to, it says it's published, we'll go to quick edit. We'll have it as draft, just so it can be used as a template in the future. And then we'll also go to edit it, and we'll no index it as well. Now what will happen, because we've set that to draft, now in Google Search Console, we're going to get a 404 error. So if someone actually did type in Kent's Bank Holiday /test, there'll be a 404. And Google will say, oh, you've got a 404 error. So obviously you need to then set a redirect from that test just to the home page, just so it doesn't upset Google in any way. So we're going to set this as no index. We'll click on here, advanced, toggle, no index, no follow, and save. Yeah. Like I say, that's belt and braces. It's already a draft page, so we don't need to worry too much. Right, let's go back to the audit. 2-page duplicate title tags. I guess that's the same thing. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, because it's in the deleted posts. 12 pages without a H1. So nearby places. Yeah, that looks like it probably should have a H1. And we can go through these, and you go through them. I'm not going to go through every single one because you'll get bored. But let's just have a look at one as an example, which doesn't have a H1. Now, the reason this page doesn't really have a H1 is because if we look at the back end, we'll go to the dashboard. This page is made up of sections which pulls through to this page. So in the main template, it hasn't been given a H1. We'll just go back to that. So that's saying that this page has a link on it which is broken. So if we click on that, we'll probably Holker Hall, broken destination URL. Well, actually, that looks like it works to me. So let's ignore that one. Don't know why it said there's a broken link. So that's saying that on that page, these two links are broken. Let's just test that, because that... Okay, that one's accurate. So that's saying page not found. So probably it's an old blog, doesn't exist anymore. David removed it, but now there's a link on a web page. You now need to go to that page, find the link, because we know it's on that page somewhere, and set up a redirect. I think I've shown you how to do redirects before, but if you go to, let's just go to the back end. It's a little bit fiddly this. I'm sorry for all the switching between, but that's what you have to do all the time with this sort of thing. If you go to the SEO tool, like I say, this one's using all-in-one SEO. I'm probably scrolling past it. There it is. And it's got a redirect section. So we'd find that. It loads. Oh, that says it's a pro feature. Okay, in Rank Math, that's a free feature. That's why I always use Rank Math. But I think I've showed you how to add a redirect, or you can just add another plugin for redirects. But it's also then worth going to that actual page and adding in a different link so it doesn't send someone round in circles. Yeah, so it's just a case of working through all of these different issues. Let's see what else we've got. So this is an interesting one. No meta description. So these first 1, 2, 3, 4 are actually part of the template of when the website was built. Sitemap, you don't need one. Properties, you do. Nearby places, you probably do need a meta description. But these 4, when the site was built, we imagine you've got multiple properties and you want to create a page that only contains your Manchester properties or only contains your London properties. You can do so. So it was part of the site setup. Now, David doesn't need those, so ideally they should be removed, because Google's potentially thinking, well, we're talking about London here, and there's a page just called London, and we're in Windermere, which is the other end of the country. So for me, I would actually find these locations, which are under properties and location there, and I would simply delete them. You don't need them at all. So that then is going to fix that error that was showing. So that would take care of those 4. Let's have a look at some others. It's worth noting that the issues I'm seeing on David's site might be different to your site. You might get a completely different list of issues, but they're good examples. So 17 pages with a title tag that's too long. So that's like the description of the page. Yeah, this bit. So ideally it needs to be under 60 characters. It's not the end of the world, but just try with these descriptions. That is your page title, which will come up here, yeah, when you hover over that bubble. And try to have the main focus keyword for the page at the start, then perhaps a location keyword, and if you have some space, your brand or something like that. But the brand is probably the last thing you should put in. But like I say, 60 characters. But once you go over it, then it just disappears off the end. So it's not a big problem, but it's better to have it concise. And because if the customer's reading that and it goes off the end, they wonder what it says. So if the complete and full sentence of the 60 characters is in there, then that's great. Let's have a look else we've got. Too long, title tag too short. That's the opposite. It's not using enough of the title tag. So a beautiful Arnside sunset. So that's the title there, a beautiful Arnside sunset. A better tag is sunsets in Arnside, things to do in Windermere. Something like that, yeah, a little bit more relevant to our target audience, yeah. Allen Bank, National Trust, things to do in Windermere, that sort of thing. So these are all a little bit short and not making full use of the space we've got. This one's interesting. Poorly formatted URL for SEO. Well, deleted post. It's really saying that it wants the same keyword in the header as the URL, as the H1, in a nice, easy to read format. So here, for example, it says Grange over Sands, but that should be Grange over Sands would be better. Properties, Deluxe, Riverside, Resort, in default. Well, that one actually wasn't a page, was it? That's one we've already got rid of. Wansfeld Pike, is that 2 words? So it should be hyphenated. So little things like that. If you are going to change it, remember then you need to do a redirect. All right. So I don't worry massively about these. I do if it's one of your main pages. If it's, a real sub-page, terms and conditions, honestly, let it go. Doesn't matter. But by the time you've then worked through these, you're then, if you want me to, I can scan your site again, and we know what we can ignore. So oftentimes I'll come to these issues that it tells us are an issue, and just I actually just say, ignore, because I've got this ignore function. So because I know that it's not so relevant. All right, so that's a site audit, and that's how to use it. So please send me an email, drop in what you need, and I'll send it back to you for you to work through. Let me know if that's been helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions. Like I say, I can't cover every eventuality that might come up on an SEO audit, but I think that one does cover quite a lot. And shout out to Cheryl, because I was going to use her website to do an audit on and to do this on, but she got like 98% with 2 issues, and the training would have been about 1 minute long because there was nothing in there at all that needed addressing, because she's doing the work and she's doing it properly. So well done. Again, let me know if you've got any questions. Here to help. Please email rather than messaging, and I'll deal with them in order. All right, take care. Bye-bye.